I won millions in the lottery. My family found out. Here's what happened. 2 years ago, my life changed forever in about 45 seconds. I was standing in my kitchen, still in the same ratty t-shirt I'd slept in, eating cereal over the sink like a functional adult, and I pulled up the lottery app on my phone just to confirm, once again, that I had not won anything. I do this the same way most people check their lottery tickets. With complete, almost peaceful acceptance that it's going to be a loss. Except this time, it wasn't. I checked the numbers once. I checked them again. I put the phone down and picked up a different spoon and checked them a third time, as if the spoon was the variable that had been wrong the first 2 times. And then I sat down on my kitchen floor, just sat right down on the tile, and stayed there for probably 20 minutes. I had won. Not a little. Not fun money. Not nice vacation, pay off the car money. Millions. Many, many millions of dollars. And the first coherent thought I had, once the shock started wearing off and something that resembled rational thinking began to creep back in, was not I can travel the world or I can quit my job or even I can finally get that thing I always wanted. The first thought was, oh no. My family is going to find out. Now before you roll your eyes at me, let me explain. Because I know how that sounds. Poor guy, won millions of dollars, what a tragedy, let me play the world's smallest violin. I get it. I really do. But here's the thing about sudden, massive wealth that nobody really talks about honestly, it doesn't just change your life. It changes every relationship you have. Instantly. Permanently. And not always in the ways you'd hope. My family, and I say this with love, I genuinely love these people, is a complicated group. Extended family included, we're talking aunts, uncles, a sprawling network of cousins, some of whom I grew up with and some of whom I've met maybe twice at holiday gatherings. And within that network, like in most families, financial responsibility is unevenly distributed. Some people are great with money. Some people are absolutely not. Some people have been broke their whole lives through genuinely terrible luck and circumstance. And some people, and again, I say this with love, have been broke their whole lives because they make decisions that would make a financial advisor physically leave their own body. My state, as I found out immediately after winning, does not allow lottery winners to remain anonymous. My name was going to be public record. And once that happened, every person who had ever known me, liked me, tolerated me, met me once at a barbecue, or was in any way adjacent to my life was going to know that I had millions of dollars. I had maybe a 2-week window before the announcement went public to figure out a strategy. So I did what any reasonable person would do, I hired a lawyer, a financial advisor, and a therapist, in that order, within about 4 days. The lawyer was the one who suggested the trust. Here's how I thought about it, I love my family. I don't want them to suffer. I don't want to look across a Thanksgiving table at someone I've known my whole life and know they're struggling with medical bills while I'm sitting on more money than most people will ever see. That felt wrong. But I also knew, and my therapist helped me articulate this, that simply handing people money tends to not work. It creates dependency. It creates resentment. It creates this weird power dynamic where every interaction you have with someone is now filtered through the fact that you have money and they might want some. The trust was the solution. A professionally managed, independently operated trust with a designated trustee who was not me. The rules were simple: if someone in the family had a genuine emergency or hardship, medical debt, unexpected car repair, falling behind on bills, a major unexpected life event, they could apply to the trustee, explain their situation, and the trustee would evaluate the need and distribute funds if it met the criteria. It was not a slush fund. It was not an ATM. It was not, I want something nice and I know a guy. It was a safety net. A real one. The kind that I genuinely wish more people had access to. And for a while, it worked pretty well. People used it for what it was meant for. A cousin had a health scare and needed help with a hospital bill. Done. An aunt's water heater died in January. Done. A family member's transmission blew out and they needed to get to work. Done. No drama, no fanfare, trustee handles it, life goes on. I was genuinely proud of it. And then there was Dale. Okay. Dale. I want to be fair to Dale here, because I think fairness matters even when someone has made you want to flip a table. Dale is my cousin. We grew up together. He's funny, actually. Like genuinely funny, the kind of person who could make a whole room laugh at a family reunion. We had good times as kids. I'm not here to destroy this guy. But Dale has always had a certain relationship with money. And with effort. And with the concept of consequences. It's not malicious, or at least it never used to be. It's more like Dale has always operated under the assumption that things will work out, that someone will step in, that the bill can wait, that the situation will resolve itself in some way that doesn't require him to do anything uncomfortable. For most of his life, that meant borrowing from whoever would lend and not paying it back. It meant his parents quietly handling things. It meant minimum payments and deferred decisions and just kind of drifting. So when the trust was established, I suspect Dale saw it less as a safety net and more as a resource. An unlocked resource. And he started doing what Dale does, which is looking for the angle. 6 months ago, Dale applied for $75,000. $75,000. For a truck. Not an emergency. Not a repair. Not a situation where he was stranded without transportation and needed help. Dale had a perfectly functional vehicle. He just wanted a new truck. Loaded, top of the line, the kind you see on dealership lots with a sticker price that makes your eyes water. And he submitted a formal application to the trust for the full amount. The trustee, to their enormous credit, denied it. Politely but clearly, this doesn't meet the criteria. This is not an emergency. You have a working vehicle. But they offered a compromise, $5,000 toward a down payment and taxes if Dale wanted to purchase a more modest vehicle, as a goodwill gesture. A leg up, not a handout. Dale took it. Bought the truck anyway, presumably financed the rest, which, fine, that's his business. His choice. Except 6 months pass. And the trustee comes to me with a pattern they've noticed. Dale has never, not once, made a truck payment on his own. What he does, and I want you to really appreciate the audacity of this system he's developed, is he waits. He waits until he's 2 months behind. Then he applies to the trust for emergency assistance with his vehicle payment. First time, trustee gives him the benefit of the doubt. Life happens, maybe it was a rough month, here's the help. Second time, a little suspicious, but okay, maybe there were circumstances. Third time, now we have a pattern. Now this is a strategy. Dale has essentially crowdsourced his truck payments to a family trust that was designed to help people in genuine emergencies. He is not in an emergency. He bought a truck he cannot afford, and he is using my money, money that was set aside to help family members through actual hardship, to just pay for it. Every 2 months. Indefinitely. And the worst part? I don't think Dale even thinks he's doing anything wrong. I genuinely believe in his mind, the money exists, he's family, ergo the money is available to him. The terms of the trust are obstacles, not rules. The trustee is a bureaucrat to be managed, not an authority to be respected. I told the trustee to cut it off. No more truck payments. Here's information on how to voluntarily return the vehicle. And will help, within reason, get Dale into something he can actually afford. Reasonable, right? I thought so. I want to take a moment here to talk about the experience of having someone post about you on Facebook, because if it's never happened to you, it is a uniquely surreal feeling. Dale's sister, we'll call her Jessie, sent me a screenshot the next morning. She wasn't being mean about it. I think she genuinely felt like I should know, and in retrospect, she was right, even though she later panicked about having done it. But she sent me the screenshot, and I opened it, and I read what Dale had written. I'm not going to repeat it word for word because it was long and increasingly unhinged, but the highlights were, I'm a selfish prick. I don't care about my family. I have millions of dollars and I'm letting him struggle over a luxury truck payment, but sure. I've changed. Money has made me cold. The trust is a way of controlling people. I think I'm better than everyone. And then, at the end, the line that I keep coming back to. He said, and I'm paraphrasing slightly but the meaning is intact, that he couldn't wait until I died so he could inherit millions, and that he would dance on my grave. I sat with that for a minute. Dance on my grave. Now, I've had people be upset with me before. I've been in arguments. I've had family drama. That's life. But there is something deeply specific about reading, in someone's own words, that they are looking forward to your death and planning a celebratory dance at your funeral. It's not a vague wish. It's a choreographed fantasy. And all of it, because I wouldn't keep subsidizing a truck he couldn't afford with money that was supposed to help people in genuine need. I decided, sitting there reading that post, that I was done. Not angry done. Not dramatic done. Just, done. Quietly, clearly, permanently done. I contacted the trustee and told them to revoke Dale's access to the trust entirely. No more applications, no more emergency assistance, no more anything. He was out. What happened next was, in retrospect, entirely predictable, and yet somehow I was still not fully prepared for it. Jessie immediately felt terrible about sharing the screenshot. She started messaging me, apologizing, asking me to reconsider, explaining that Dale didn't mean it, that he was just venting, that he gets like this when he's frustrated. She wasn't defending him exactly, she'd shared the post, after all, which tells you something about what she actually thought, but she was scared now that she'd caused a bigger family explosion than she'd intended. I told her gently that she'd done the right thing, and that the decision wasn't about the post in isolation. The post was a symptom. The truck payments were the diagnosis. Dale found out he'd been removed from the trust and, predictably, lost his mind. I won't detail every message because honestly life is short, but the tone escalated significantly from the Facebook post. There were accusations, demands, a lengthy screed about family loyalty, and at one point a claim that I owed him because of some loosely defined concept of family obligation that I'm still not entirely clear on. His mother, my aunt, weighed in. I won't repeat what she said either, but it was pointed. It was the kind of thing where you can tell someone has been holding back and this was their moment to finally let it go. There was history in it, stuff that had nothing to do with the trust, old grievances wrapped in new arguments. Interestingly, Dale's father, her husband, my uncle, called me separately and told me he thought I'd made the right call. He was quiet about it, not dramatic, just. You gave him every chance. He made his choices. And then he apologized for his wife's words. That meant something to me. The wider family split roughly in half, as families do. Some people got it immediately, they'd watched Dale's pattern for years, they knew exactly what had been happening, and they were almost relieved to see a line get drawn. Others thought I was being too harsh, that family forgives, that money creates an obligation to absorb whatever comes with it. A few people who I'm fairly sure just didn't want their own trust access jeopardized started carefully distancing themselves from Dale in real time, which was its own kind of telling. My parents, who are the primary beneficiaries of my estate and who know me better than anyone, told me to trust my gut. My mom said something I keep thinking about: you can love someone and still protect yourself from them. Here's what I've learned in 2 years of having significant wealth that I think is actually worth saying out loud, because I don't see it talked about honestly very often. Money doesn't change people. I know that's the common wisdom, money changes people, usually said ominously about whoever just came into some. But I don't actually think that's true, or at least it's not the whole truth. What money does is reveal people. It removes the buffer. When there's nothing to distribute, there's no reason to perform. When there's suddenly something, all the things people actually think, about fairness, about entitlement, about what they believe they deserve, come to the surface. Dale didn't become someone who felt entitled to my money because I won the lottery. He was always someone who felt that way, it just had no target before. The lottery gave it a target. The relatives who showed up with grace, with genuine congratulations, with no ask attached, those are people who were always like that. The ones who immediately started calculating, those are people who were always calculating, just without enough information to act on it. This is not a comfortable thing to realize about people you love. It's genuinely sad, in a way that I don't think gets acknowledged enough in the lottery winner cautionary tales genre. The grief is real. You grieve the version of relationships you thought you had. You grieve the simplicity of not knowing. You grieve the fact that you can never fully unknow it. I set up the trust because I wanted to be generous without being naive. I thought it was a good compromise between looking out for people and protecting myself from the more corrosive dynamics that come with visible wealth. And for the most part, it has worked. Most of the family has used it the way it was intended, if they've used it at all. Most of them are just living their lives, occasionally grateful for a safety net they didn't ask for but might need someday. Dale is one person. One cousin, in a family of many. His choices say nothing about the rest of them. But Dale is also a person who wrote, in public, with his name attached, that he is waiting for me to die. And I have to be honest with myself about what that means. People keep asking me if I'll forgive Dale. Family members, Jesse especially, have framed the question as though forgiveness and restoring his trust access are the same thing. They're not. I don't hate Dale. I'm not sitting here plotting revenge, not spreading his business around, not trying to turn the family against him. If I passed him at a holiday gathering tomorrow, I wouldn't make a scene. I'm not that person. But forgiveness. The internal kind, the kind where you release resentment and wish someone well and move on, that's different from trust. And it's different from money. I can forgive Dale for being who he is while also being crystal clear that who he is means I cannot continue to financially support him. There's a version of this story where I'm the villain. Where the moral is that rich people use their money as a weapon, that I dangled resources in front of family members and then pulled them away when they stepped out of line, that the trust was always about control and this just revealed it. I've heard that version. Some people in my family believe it. But here's the version I actually lived. I won money I didn't ask for, tried to share it responsibly with people I love, created systems specifically designed to be fair and need-based and independent of my personal feelings, and then a person used those systems to avoid any personal financial accountability, got caught, attacked me publicly, and wished me dead. The trust isn't a weapon. Removing Dale from it is not punishment in the punitive sense. It's just the recognition that subsidizing someone who wants you dead is a bad idea. That's not a complicated ethical position. That's just self-preservation. It's been a few weeks since all of this happened. Dale still has the truck. I assume he'll continue to make or not make payments on it until eventually the situation resolves itself in whatever way the situation resolves itself. That's no longer my problem. Jessie and I are fine. She made a hard call in sending me that screenshot, and I think it was the right one, and I think she knows that even if it didn't feel clean in the moment. We talked, it was honest, and we're okay. Dale's father and I have quietly remained in contact. I appreciate him more than I can say. My aunt and I are in a cold war that neither of us has formally acknowledged. Maybe that changes. Maybe it doesn't. The trust continues. Other family members continue to use it the way it was intended. Someone needed help last month with a medical bill. Someone else had an unexpected repair on their only vehicle, their actual only vehicle, that they couldn't afford to replace and needed to get to work. The trustee handled both. No drama, no posts, just help when it was needed. That's what it was supposed to be. As for me, I'm okay. Genuinely okay. I have more money than I ever expected to have, a complicated family that I love imperfectly, and a pretty clear sense now of who I am when the pressure is applied. I didn't ask for any of this, exactly. Not the money, not the exposure, not the version of my family that emerges when you put wealth into the equation. But here we are. And I'd rather know the truth of things, even when it's hard, than live inside a comfortable illusion. If Dale ever actually changes, not performs change, actually changes, there's a version of the future where we figure something out. I'm not writing him off as a human being. But I am writing him off as someone I owe anything to right now. That line in his post, "Dance on your grave," I keep coming back to it. Not because it haunts me, exactly. But because it clarified something. Because sometimes the clearest information you get about a situation comes from the least expected place, delivered in the least expected way. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is simply, believe someone when they show you who they are. Dale showed me. I believed him. And I think, honestly, I'm better off for it. So. Was I wrong? Was pulling Dale from the trust too harsh? Should I have given him another chance, looked past the Facebook post, kept the door open? I've genuinely thought about it. I've sat with the discomfort of being the person who has a lot and is being accused of withholding. I've wondered if I'm using the trust as cover for something colder, if somewhere under the structured language of terms and criteria, I'm just a person who found an excuse. But every time I go back to the basics, what the trust was for, how Dale used it, what he said publicly when he didn't get what he wanted, I land in the same place. You cannot keep giving to someone who is counting the days until you're gone. You just can't. And if that makes me the villain in Dale's story, then okay. I can live with that. He'll have to live with the truck payments.